This video is gonna be a bit different. A few weeks ago, I had been lured from my editing cave by the sweet smell of free beta keys. Specifically, for a couple of games that had caught my eye sometime prior. So, like any good Z-list YouTube dork, I jumped on the chance to play something early, and as part of that bargain, here's my video on them. Supplice. Supplice is a fast-paced FPS that turned up my radar relatively recently. It's powered by the GZ Doom engine, an increasingly common sight in the indie shooter scene, and makes full use of both the engine's expanded capabilities and its heritage. Its sprawling maps are packed full of monster closets and deviously hidden secrets that at times make it feel more like a build engine game. Speaking of the build engine, the sprite and texture work is fantastic and reminds me a lot of Iron Fury with how crisp and readable it is. The color coding of weapons and ammo was a nice touch that only increases readability in combat. My only complaint would be how colorless the enemies are by comparison, especially in darker areas, making identifying priority targets somewhat difficult. I also find the two basic former human enemies have very similar appearances, and this has led to a number of close calls during my run as I mistake a shotgunner for a rifleman. Maybe they could be colored like the weapon type they're carrying? The early access campaign I was given drops us immediately into some mines, with no fanfare nor backstory to speak of. I assume the full release will have some sort of introductory cutscene or level. At least, I'd hope so. While running around this first level, I find myself being teased by a power-up hidden just behind where we started, and then find the game goes the classic Doom route of having no jumping. Fair enough. Instead, they keep Doom's insane movement speed, which I am all for. The game's plot is delivered via text logs reminiscent of Marathon. These are always interesting to read, however, pausing to read them does feel like a sudden halt against the pace of the gameplay. And it's never clear which dialogues will be important narrative, puzzle clues, or just background lore. Without getting into spoilers, from what I've seen of the plot thus far, the comparison to Marathon only gets stronger. The player is initially guided by the AI Charon as they attempt to link up with our survivors. However, as the plot progresses, this trust is brought into question. The plot was interesting enough to keep me hooked without getting in the way of shooting 10,000 dudes in the face super fast. The game's weapon roster, limited in this version, covers all the needed bases. We start off with this massive drill. Its alt fire is a recharging shockwave that sort of functions like a limited range shotgun. The first firearm we acquire is the assault rifle. I was going to complain about its low fire rate, but before long you pick up another one and just fucking akimbo them. This melts through your ammo pool just as fast as your enemies. Next is the rotary shotgun. As far as Doom engine shotguns go, it's a damn fine one. I mean, it's no Hedon fragfire, but the triple shot ult makes mincemeat of larger enemies. Then we get the Cyclone Mortar, a napalm lobbing cannon that looks like the rocket launcher from Unreal Tournament, and its ult fire loads up free shots for increasing effect. Wait a fucking second, that is the UT rocket launcher. Its blast radius is a little big, making it kind of risky to use considering how many melee type enemies you'll be facing. Finally, towards the end of the game, we find the minigun. It shares the same bullet ammo type as the assault rifle, and unfortunately, in the scene I get it, which I won't show because it's a huge spoiler, I was unable to experiment much with its utility. Its ult fire is deploying it as a turret, which I guess is useful. I'm sure I missed some totally secret hidden weapons somewhere, but these were the ones I found, and considering that, I feel there's a good range thus far. As for enemies, a wide roster of former humans, biomechanical horrors, and strange alien creatures besiege the player at every moment. And honestly, I think their designs are fantastic, even if their color palette is a bit bland. There are some enemies that were more frustrating than others, fucking Red Skull-ass Gatling gunners, and I think a few of the lower class enemies could do with being a little less tanky, especially given the numbers the game likes to throw at you. Overall, I enjoyed the enemy composition. Not really much more to say about it. Now, I've got to say, the game is hard. I often found myself with sub 50 HP, and I'm only playing on the normal difficulty. I'm a bit of a masochist when it comes to shooters, but I can see this not being to everybody's liking. The flow of the combat certainly feels like it was made by veterans of the genre, and then balanced for themselves. Ah shit. Personally, I'd like to see quick saves implemented at major events, but maybe that's just my modern baby gamer brain having a whinge. Moving on to the soundtrack, oh, it is good. A mix of rock guitars, drums, and synth beats blend smoothly with the combat loop. Whenever the pace slows, the tracks start to remind me of the Terran themes from StarCraft, and I'm genuinely considering adding them to my RTS background music playlists. They can sound a bit loud at times though. I know, I could tweak the settings myself, but this is how it sounds out of the box. The level design is extremely impressive, doubly so when you consider the engine it's made on. I think I saw some true room-over-room areas, which, if you're unfamiliar, is something the base Doom engine simply can't do. So I think they're making use of an advanced GZ Doom feature for that. There were moments when the size of these levels made it difficult for me to keep track of where I was or where I'd been. I'm usually pretty good at this, but this early key, for example, took me an embarrassing long time to realize I could just go around to pick it up. So, all in all, would I recommend Supplice? If you like fast-paced shooters with a sprinkling of heavy narrative, hell yeah. Even in this early access state, it's been a great experience, and I'll be keeping my eyes on it for its full release. Now, Ghostware. Oh man, I've been following this for a while. I've been a fan of one of the people behind it for a couple of years, a musician by the title Mothership Loudspeakers. So when this key appeared in my inbox, I was hyped. Ghostware is hard to pin to a single genre. It's a mix of arena shooter, collectathon, cyberpunk, horror, light RPG elements. Hell, I'm probably missing a few, so it's probably easy just to describe the game itself. You play as an unfortunate soul resurrected by this necrobeard neckmancer. Fuck. You play as an unfortunate soul resurrected by a neckbeard necromancer who wants to revive the dead arena shooter genre by populating it with the undead, and you're one of them.
I'm back?
Right off the bat, the most impressive thing about this game is its movement. It's just... okay, just look at this. Oh, it's so good. Fuck. The deceptively simple combos of slide jumps and B-hops unlocked buried memories in my mind. Countless wasted summers conk jumping around TFC to flag block. If you understood any of what I just said, you probably qualify for a discounted bus pass. Early on, there is one secret where you need to use the shotgun to boost your jump height to catch it. Real scout moment there. But after that, I went experimenting and found that jumping and boosting at the same time can make the jump even higher, leading to one case where I was able to break into an area I really shouldn't have been able to reach. So you slide, hop, and blast your way around the arenas for the wizard's amusement, and then things happen. Real funny, guys. And now the game takes a sudden swerve into horror. It capitalizes well on the concept of spooky empty levels, whilst tickling you with just enough intrigue to make you want to explore them. Once you've beaten a level, you can return to it to explore for secrets. New areas are unlocked, a strange mold-like material begins growing throughout, and malignant entities stalk the halls. It's well worth exploring these levels, however, as the secrets they hide include permanent armor regeneration upgrades and URLs that let you open neato little websites in the in-game web browser.
Digital dreams crossing over the sea.
Wait, I'm not covering up Link yet. I don't want to go too far into the plot because honestly, I think this game is best experienced blind. I will say that the early access demo is too short, but that's because I crave more. I hunger for it. Inject it right into my jugular, please. I really have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to make complaints about the game. Perhaps some of the weapons feel too strong while others too weak? The lack of a melee option is a bit disappointing since I instinctively want to go for those humiliations. Also, I do feel like the voice acting and script work can be a little off at times.
Oh, like in the King of the...
No! There are two zones, none of them is a hill.
It's not bad, just a little corny. Although I suppose it fits. And hey, if you need any more voices, I know a little spider who'd be happy to help. So, would I recommend Ghostware? Abso-fucking-lutely. I will be watching this intently for updates because I just want more.
Haven't felt this way since my days of hitting dope in Da Nang.
I can't begin to describe how well the game defies the very nature of what it claims to be, while at the same time sticking so closely to it. Its self-awareness reminds me of Undertale of all things, and it makes me wish I could bee-hop in Silent Hill. But now it's time for me to return to the editing mines. CNC3 is going to be a big video, so you might see a few more short videos like this in the meantime. But until then, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I thank you for watching.